What's up YouTube? It's Hoverboard FAQ here, and today we're going to be talking about hoverboards, but more from the business standpoint of people who started hoverboard businesses. I know that's something that a lot of you guys have expressed an interest in doing. I know some of you guys who watch my channel have actually started hoverboard businesses, either selling boards, selling parts, doing repairs, or even just affiliate marketing. So I thought it'd be interesting. Saw this article, and I thought it'd be interesting to kind of make a video sort of commenting on the article and I thought they did a really good job. It's basically a guy who started his own hoverboard business when he realized this was going to be a popular trend, and he kind of talks about what it was like starting, how he did everything. So I'll kind of read the article to you, and we'll kind of discuss it as we go along. So I was first introduced to hoverboards while watching Casey Neistat's daily vlogs on YouTube. For those of you guys who don't know, Casey Neistat's like one of the most popular YouTubers out there, and he's really kind of on new trends and things like that. So he had hoverboards and one-wheel unicycles and electric skateboards before they were really popular. Obviously, because he's a YouTube influencer, people who have new products send them to him, hoping to get him featured in videos. So that's why he gets a lot of stuff early. But I just wanted to point out who he was. So the guy who started the company says, "Wow, that's pretty cool. I started searching online to purchase one myself. When I looked at the cost of an IO-Hawk at $1,800 or Funky Duck at $1,500, I thought there had to be a cheaper way. That's when I found out how cheap they would be if you bought them online in bulk straight from the manufacturer. That was an intriguing idea, so I decided it wouldn't hurt to order straight from China. I thought I would keep one and sell one, and if I could sell one, then maybe I could sell more. So I began the process. This was my first experience using Alibaba. For those of you guys who don't know, Alibaba is similar to AliExpress. They're actually the same company, but AliExpress is sort of their retail hybrid. You know, AliExpress makes it much easier to order, smaller order quantities. You can pay with credit card. Things are typically shipped straight to your door instead of by sea. So I just wanted to point out what Alibaba was. It wasn't too bad. It just took a little bit of patience and some time to try to understand the broken English. I put an order request out there and received a ton of responses. I ended up going with the Shenzhen U-Wheel Technology Company Limited, and after negotiating with a little haggling on price, I got them to create logo stickers and brand hoverboards, and it was time to pay." So a lot of you guys have finally caught on to this, but the Funky Duck, the IO-Hawk, there's nothing special about those boards. They aren't really a better quality board. All it is, if you order enough pieces, they'll let you slap whatever brand name you want on a board. Typically, like a large enough order to do that is like 500 pieces. Somehow this guy managed to get him to do it on 2 units as a sample. And if you want, I'll link to this article in the description box below. The guy actually provides screenshots to like his text correspondence with the manufacturers. So anyone who's interested in getting into the hoverboard business or who's in it may find that interesting. But let's continue on. So at some point, it starts to feel like it might be some sort of scam because payment is not handled through Alibaba. My options were either a Western Union money order or for an additional 4% of the order using PayPal. I decided to go with PayPal because it just seemed safer and a lot easier. So when you order off Alibaba, you know, wholesale, typically PayPal isn't an option. Why? Because PayPal fees get steep on larger orders. And also just, you know, when you're dealing with wholesale stuff, you cut out all the fees possible. So there's no need to pay PayPal fees. It also ties up the seller's money for a long time. So they prefer to do either bank wires or Western Union. But we'll move on. So he says, "I'm not a designer. Now I needed to come up with a name and to brand these generic smart balancing 2-wheel scooters. It had to be something where the domain name was simple and also available. That's where good old thesaurus.com came in handy. Fastboards, hover wheels, tech boards. A couple of iterations later, I landed on SwiftDecks." And he says, "SwiftDeck was owned by a wood deck company. Oh well, in my book, name didn't really matter. It's better to spend more time focusing on real things instead of names. The whole naming process took all of 3 minutes. I jumped on GoDaddy and snatched up SwiftDecks.com. These boards are being called hoverboards and 2-wheel smart balance scooters and swagways and a variety of other names. I called them SwiftDecks because that was the domain name I was able to get." So as you can see, you know, just because someone has a name on a board doesn't mean it's a better quality board. All it means is that they negotiated with the seller or manufacturer to put their logo on it. So logo really has nothing to do with quality. So anyone who paid, you know, $1,500 for an IO-Hawk, essentially I can buy that same exact board out of China for $200. So you're not getting anything special there except for paying for Tony Hawk's basically branding. So he says, "After I purchased the URL, I hopped on Fiverr and hired the first person I saw who could create a logo. It was $5, but I paid extra to have it more quickly. I hate waiting. Again, don't spend too much on this either. It's version 1, nobody cares. I went with the first logo that came back to me." And he actually doesn't got a bad looking logo. "I'm not an engineer. I then needed to create a website to look legit. Too legit. Maybe even too legit to quit. So I jumped on Weebly.com. Why Weebly? Because it's easy to set up. and has an e-commerce side that's simple to use. There was other website builders you can use. They're all pretty much the same. I just prefer Weebly. For anyone who's interested in doing anything like this, Shopify, BigCommerce, Squarespace, Big Cartel, among others. Again, this is a V1 and all one big test. If the overall idea is validated and there's money coming in, then that's when I'm thinking about moving on to bigger things. I set up a Stripe account to handle credit card transactions, and thankfully Stripe integrates directly into Weebly. Boom, done with that. I'm not a shipping and logistics Jedi. I knew shipping would be a B word and a big B word. I didn't want anyone to start taking on too much of my time, so I resorted to using Ship for any of the shipping I had to do. It was a godsend. So easy to use and saved me a ton of time. As for preparing each product to be sent out, it was simple as throwing a sticker on a hoverboard and done. Now he says, I am a content creator. Working at Techcrunch has given me the skill of creating media very fast, like super effing fast. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I hadn't read all the way through this, but the guy who did this was actually a contributor at the Techcrunch, so that's kind of cool. I also shot a couple photos, and just like that, I had my product shots added to my website. Now a slick professional-ish company. So he's got some good videos and stuff like that. I'm not a marketing genius. The beauty about hoverboards is that these things pretty much sell themselves. Now, that was the case leading up till Christmas. Pretty much if you could get a consistent supply, you could sell them all day because nobody could keep these things in stock. Now that the whole Christmas rush is kind of done and the whole fire scare and everything kind of happened, you definitely need to be more of a marketing genius to actually sell these things. But he goes on to say they're cool and they're all the rage now. Here's a list of marketing that I did. Some of them are just opportunities that came up. Being prepared / luck. I created a Facebook, a Twitter account, and a YouTube account, and an Instagram account. On Facebook, to get likes on the page and not look like a noob, I created a video asking my friends to like the page. I was straight up and honest with them. Prime knows a little. A friend created some shirts for me, asked about my SwiftDeck. We wore them and went to a couple locations with cards and promo codes for 10% off and let people try them out themselves. So cool marketing strategy there. I have a friend who works with Logic, the rapper, and managed to send him a free SwiftDeck. He did a tweet. That's pretty much how these hoverboards blew up, is people sent them to social media influencers, and that's what really kind of started this entire industry. He said, I did one Facebook advertisement, spent $20. In the end, I got the most sales for my little brother, 10-year-old, and sister, 7-year-old, just riding them around town. Also, through the parking attendant of the Techcrunch building, High Five Mike, these boards are fun and visually compelling. When people saw them, they wanted to try them out. And this was a really good sales technique. If you actually had these things before a lot of people had them, which I would say they started becoming mainstream in like October, November of last year. But if you had them prior to that and you were riding them out in public, everybody would stop to ask you what they were. So simply just riding them around town was, you could probably sell 10 to 15 a day. Let's see, it just goes on more about marketing. Let's see. How much did everything cost? So let's look at his numbers. First round, 2 products and another product I was testing, $8.99. So that's really expensive. I'm hoping he got in the early days when these things were more expensive, because that's kind of a high price. $8.99 divided by 2. So he paid almost $4.50 for each board. That's really high. So on his second round of products, he paid $32.80. So $32.80 divided by 10. He paid $3.28. So that's still pretty high. Even during the rush, you could get boards wholesale pretty easily at around $250, and even that was kind of on the high end. Let's see what he paid on round 3. Round 3, $6,037 divided by 20 units. So then he got the price down a little bit more to $301. URL purchase $45, website pro $299, logo $69. He really overpaid for his logo. Shirts $237. This guy's really overpaying for everything. Shipping $23. Units sold 32. Price after free ones and discounted ones for family $375 a unit. Total cost $10,000. So this guy, in my opinion, should have made a lot more money. He was really getting raped off on the price he was paying for these, and I wish he gave a timeline of exactly when he was in this business. But really, what he could have done for about 10 grand, he probably could have got 50 boards as opposed to what he wound up having, 32 boards. And could have made a lot more money. After all this work and everything, he only made $1,074. Time spent on everything, maybe 4 8-hour days spent total, but were spread out as a couple hours on weekends and a couple after work. Everything was able to be done very quickly. And then he says, buy SwiftDecks. SwiftDecks was a startup that I had tried because I liked the product and thought it was fun. I also thought it would be fun to try to build something and make a quick buck, but now the market has become so saturated with these things that you can find them next to eggs and milk in the grocery store. Definitely true. I've seen them in convenience stores and a lot of other places. Also, I don't want to put any more time into SwiftDecks. I believe these hoverboards are a fad and will be fun while they were here, but they will likely pass like Beanie Babies and Tamagotchis. We're ready to start seeing them pass. To really compete in the market, you have to be buying hundreds to thousands of these at a time to considerably bring down the cost and make good margins. The shipping from China is a killer. I'll tell you where this guy went wrong. First off, he was doing shipping by air, which is like 20 times more expensive than shipping by sea. And also, he really wasn't negotiating good prices, in my opinion. But let's see. There are a couple things that are guaranteed to happen if you start a hoverboard company. You'll be tagged and sent every video that has anything to do with hoverboards in it. Everybody will tell you they have seen it for cheaper and still want to buy yours below cost. You'll have to tell friends, so they're the lamest things they've ever seen. Only raise money from profits. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much the article. He gives a timeline and everything here. And the comments were kind of interesting to read. I thought this was 3 issues you do not deal with, which would kill your profits if you stayed in business. 1, taxes, enough said. As somebody else comments, every business has taxes, so that's really irrelevant. 2, returns. Sell on a larger scale and people start returning them for whatever reason, you are now losing. Very true. Most people have like a all sales final type policy. But again, credit card chargebacks really give anybody the ability to charge it back, or if you're selling on eBay and Amazon, they have very generous return policies. So that is a serious issue to contend with, as well as credit card chargebacks. I've talked about this on the channel before, but Soldier Boy and Tony Hawk both wound up being in the hole. Tony Hawk about $1 million, Soldier Boy about $250,000. So that's another big issue. There were a lot of credit card fraud scams going on with these businesses. And lastly, insurance for liability issues. In terms of insurance, due to the fires as well as just somebody falling off a board and cracking their head, it would probably be smart to get product liability insurance, or at the very least incorporate or set up an LLC. And that way, if you do get sued, at least they can only come after the hoverboard business and not your personal assets or your house or anything else. So, yeah, thought it was an interesting article. Figure I'd share it with you guys. If anyone's interested in reading more about it, I will link to it in the description box below so you can check out the article for yourself. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you guys have any ideas for content you want me to make, how-to videos you want me to make, please leave them in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and check back for more videos.